I knew I wanted to go to Africa. I knew I wanted to learn more about the African continent, and that was closely tied to my heritage, closely tied to my academic coursework. I'm an African American, so I don't know directly where I come from in Africa, but I knew, I have descendants from the continent.
I'm African American and Native American, so I wanted to go to a place that I felt there was a lot of Black people. I wanted to be a part of the majority for a while. One of my biggest things was I wanted to know what it was like, to be around my people. As an African American, I don't necessarily know where my roots come from. I have no idea. And so it's I really wanted to be around other Black people, to me. And it's even though there's different cultures and different stories and different places, I still felt as though I was talking to, my people.
Traditionally in my culture, Somali, girls are not supposed to travel by themselves and be farther from the family. So it's been a challenge convincing my parents. I'm the oldest of 9, so now they're excited because now they know, we can do things that she did too.
Going there and telling people I'm from the States, but I'm from Ethiopia, but you can't tell because I speak fluent English and I don't have an accent. That was just complicated, and it made me realize how really mixed my identity is and my culture is.
Other individuals of color didn't first perceive me as from America. They asked, they didn't really assume. And if they did, they wouldn't say one place. They'd give a range. What I'm really trying to get at is, where are you from?
Well, I really faced what I would say was kind of a mental tightrope between identities, because I felt so embraced in many ways by where I was in Nairobi and by the communities I was a part of, but at the same time I still felt apart from the community there, and that was really negotiating my African heritage and my American identity. One time my second host mother had asked me, do I feel more African or do I feel more American? And the first thing I said was I'm more African. I totally feel that way or whatever. But when I kind of digested her question, I ultimately came to the realization that I feel more American, and I am more American.
I come from a strong background of Eritrean and Ethiopian heritage, and I found so many similarities between my culture and Chinese culture. But then I was born and raised in America, so I see, again, a lot of similarities and differences, but it really helped me understand a lot of things, I would say, about my Eritrean and Ethiopian culture. I asked questions to Chinese locals that I haven't asked my own family, just because something I live with every day and all this stuff. I'm why do you do that? And I see the Chinese doing it, and I'm asking them why they do that. Helps me understand why my family's doing it. So it was good to see the overlap and the parallels between the two cultures.
I was really embraced by people. I was really embraced, and I really, for the first time in my life, outside of kind of certain ethnic areas or whatever, I felt a true sense of anonymity.
I'm a first generation here. Kenya is really close to my country, so I saw a lot of people from my community, Somali community, which was really great. I got to learn a lot. The family even knew some Somali because the husband worked with his closest friend was actually a guy from the same ethnic background as me. He was Somali, and he brought him over for dinner one night to just make me feel kind of comfortable.
I was never perceived negatively. Individuals, regardless of where I was, they could tell that I wasn't from there, and so when I'd go to speak to anyone, they were always very open. Very rarely people seemed upset to talk with me because I was a foreigner in their country. Most of the time they're where are you from? Why are you here? Why did you choose to come now and not later? And what are you interested in? And so I was always met with acceptance.
It was pretty illuminating for me to be in an African country, to go around and to see billboards with dark-skinned Black people, and to feel honestly, to feel desired sexually in a different way, and feel appreciated and beautiful, and to also see the beauty in my own people, honestly, I didn't even know I was missing some of the feelings that I had.
It wasn't an all Black cohort, you know, there was like 6 of us, maybe African American people on the trip, but we realized we'd have different experiences because of that, because we could go into a space and really kind of feel as though, like in many ways, like you're like, oh, like these are my people, like this is, you know, like this is where, like I felt really comfortable walking down the street, and like I felt really comfortable going into the townships and places that people were like, oh, you know, that might not be the safest place. I'm like, it's fine. And I would go, you know, I felt comfortable going into spaces and the common people, speaking with, you know, residents and like people who actually live there and their history there. I kind of felt like I was learning about, you know, my people. I never had someone like not welcome me. I was actually really surprised with the fact that I was just always welcomed wherever I went.
I was like looking, oh my god, where am I gonna pray? Where am I gonna eat? So I had to research those stuff, and I found a mosque that's like 1,020 something years old. Just because you're going to another country doesn't mean you're leaving all your identities behind. That's gonna affect you when you go there. So.
I never really paid attention to how much China like kind of idolizes Americans, but the thing was, my family did not know that I was American. Because I'm African American, most of the African Americans that they see, they assume are just African. It was me and another African American girl in our program, and whenever we went somewhere, it was like paparazzi, just all the time. Which, I mean, Americans get that a lot just because they're not used to seeing Americans, especially in like rural areas of China.
In the communities I was in, like Kenya, Nairobi, people rarely see African Americans, if at all. But they have an impression of African Americans, and unfortunately, a lot of what they expressed to me, they heard was very negative, particularly about Black women. It was just very negative notions about the character of African Americans. We had a long conversation, a good conversation, where I told them about all the positive Black women in my life, and I offered a counter narrative, but moreover, just like my own narrative, you know, just about who African Americans are, a little bit about our history in the United States, and I felt very empowered in that moment, and I felt very glad that I was there.
Like you're an American, and everybody knows you're an American, so what you do and how you do it, positive or negative, affects Americans. My presence meant something to them, you know, and being able to talk to me about their stories and be able to share their narratives, even when I wasn't doing anything, was just as important as if I probably would have done something, right, in my mind, of doing something.
But then for me, studying abroad, it was more than just, I guess, exploring myself and everything. I felt like I was really doing another layer of service too, for America and for the world in a sense.
Yeah, honestly, I would love to see more people of color going to countries like that, because most of the time people that go to those rural areas in China or in Singapore or Thailand they see a lot of more white people than they see other people of color. When they see those people, they're like, can I touch your skin or can I touch your hair? That would not be happening if more of us would be going there.
Being one of those people that didn't think going out of the country for an extended amount of time was something that I could do, either financially or emotionally, don't let that stop you from going, because honestly, you will regret that decision if you don't go. Because now, thinking about it, I don't know what I would have done last semester if I hadn't have been in China.
It was the greatest thing I did at the university, studying abroad, and I tell people that it's possible, you know, it's possible to make it happen, and it's an incredible investment for your professional life and for your personal life. So I mean, it's a phenomenal opportunity.
My last piece of advice for individuals who are studying abroad are to stay committed. Don't ever let this opportunity pass you by. It's an experience that if you partake in now, you'll reap benefits from it your entire life. Be confident when it comes to studying abroad. If you want to do it, know that you can do it and you should do it. If it's not for anybody, it should be for yourself.